What's up, guys? How's it going? I hope you're all doing well. And in today's video, I want to talk about another fight taking place in the 154-pound division, and that is Tszyu versus Velasquez. I believe it's Anthony Velasquez getting his first sort of chance on the big stage here. Big step up fight for him. I haven't seen too much footage on him as there isn't really much out there on him. I saw one of his fights that was on PBC. I think it was from about 5 years ago. So not exactly sure how much he's improved since then, but in that fight, he looked decent. He looks like he has a bit of skills, decent left jab, had a decent left hook as well, decent power, decent straight right hand. So he looks decent. The guy looks like he can box a bit. So for me, this is not a foregone conclusion that Tszyu is just going to come back and blast this dude out. I know obviously that's the plan for Tszyu. He wants to get back in, title contention and back in big fights. So this is sort of he wanted to get back out there quickly and get himself back in the mix. Now, this, in my opinion, is actually a dangerous fight for him because this kid, looking at his record, has decent punch power. And like I say, decent jab, decent boxing fundamentals as a whole by the looks of things. Now, he hasn't fought at this level of competition, but Tszyu, in my opinion, is not that complex of a fighter. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. He's a guy with a lot of power. He's hyper aggressive. He likes to go to your body. And he's an accurate puncher as well for somebody that's a big puncher. So Tszyu, you know, he's a dangerous man in there. But however, like I say, he's not that complex. He's not defensively blessed either. He can be outboxed and he certainly can be hit. And now this guy that he's going in there with looks to have decent power. And like I said, I said it earlier in this video, he has a decent left hook. And we've seen Tszyu, like in the Bakram Murtazaliev fight, he, he seemed pretty defenseless to Bakram's left hook. It was a counter left hook. This guy seems to have a good check left hook as well. So that shot's going to be there for him in this fight when Tszyu's throwing that right hand. So, he's got to work, obviously, on... He's got to work on that because, when your opponent's got a good counter left hook, you don't necessarily want to just be throwing that right hand and leaving yourself open for that left hook. So there are, in my opinion, already spots where I can see Velasquez having success in this fight. Like I say, he's got a decent jab. He's going to have the height and reach advantage over Tszyu, who's not, one of the taller guys in this division. I believe he's about 5'8.5", 5'9". Velasquez, I think he's slightly taller, about 5'11", so should have a height and reach advantage in this fight. So already, that's going to pose a threat to Tszyu because, like I said, he's not defensively blessed, hasn't got the greatest head movement either. So if this guy's got a decent jab, decent legs, which it looks like he has, so it looks like he'll be able to use a bit of lateral movement, use his jab, and look to counter Tszyu with that left hook when Tim's trying to get his right hand off. And also, this guy looks like he has a bit of power as well. Like I say, decent straight right hand as well. So I don't expect this fight to be easy. Obviously, this guy's got to be prepared for the fight to get rough and to be in a dogfight because that's what Tszyu is going to do. Tszyu's, like I said, he's a hyper-aggressive guy. He's going to look to come in there and hunt you down, and he's going to rely on his power to try and hurt you and get you out of there. So this guy's got to be ready for the storm that Tszyu is going to bring for him. But from a technical standpoint, I think this guy is good enough to possibly cause an upset here. Now, like I said, I haven't seen him a great deal of tape on him, and I haven't seen him in there with guys at this level. So if he can handle the pressure and he can, handle the storm that Tszyu is going to put on him early, I could see him. And also the question remains now to see how much damage has been done to Tszyu, mentally as well as in terms of his chin. Because if his punch resistance is going and that type of thing, this fight, it could be a disaster here. And like I said, from a mental standpoint, obviously this is Tszyu trying to get himself back in the mix. This fight could, like I said, it could go badly for them, but obviously this is just my early thoughts. Like I said, there's not a lot of film out there on this guy, so it's hard to make a prediction in this fight. All I'm saying is I'm not convinced that this is the right fight for Tszyu. I mean, it's against an unknown guy with a record that looks good. So from that standpoint, I can see it's slightly marketable. You're fighting an American in Australia. He's unbeaten with a a good looking resume. But I still think that this fight could be dangerous for Tim Tszyu. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on the comment section below. I know there's not a lot of tape out there on this guy, so it's hard to give your opinion on him, but let me know what your guys' thoughts on the comment section below. Do you think this is an easy fight for Tim Tszyu, or do you think, it's possibly a mistake by his management team here? The other thing is, I saw an interview with this guy, obviously, with them. Once they announced this fight, they were promoting the fight. And they had Velasquez on there, and they were interviewing him and asking him a couple questions. And he was blinking like crazy and giving very sort of short answers. And you could sort of hear in his voice as well that he was very nervous. And you could see by how he was blinking, he was very nervous. So obviously, those are not great signs going into the fight, that he's already sort of struggling with nervousness and with the attention. And going into this fight against Tim Tszyu in Australia, it's going to be a hostile environment. And with this, this guy hasn't fought on TV much. That's why there's not much tape out there on him. So if this guy can handle, and control his nerves, I think he's got a chance to pull off an upset here in this fight against Tszyu. But obviously, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's never fought at this level before, so that obviously plays in Tim's favor. That this guy seems to already be sort of struggling with the nervousness of the whole occasion. We'll see, on fight night, whether he can control that and sort of stay focused and stay composed in there. But obviously, that's going to be very important for him, is to try and stay composed in there, because Tim Tszyu is going to put it on him. It's going to be a hostile crowd. So that's my thoughts on this fight so far. I think this could be a possible upset here if this guy's able to handle the occasion. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section below. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.